Hey, well, welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, it's so great to be back. My name is Lynn Vartan. I'm the director of A.P.E.X events, and I also teach in the music department. We are here to welcome you to our spring 2021 season. As usual, there are postcards and bookmarks on your chairs. Please feel free to take them to your friends, tell everybody about the season. And I'd also like to say, welcome to everyone watching online. All of our events will be live streamed as well as in person this semester. So you can watch them from home, you can watch them in person, take your choice. So welcome everyone, it's so great to be back. We have a whole lineup of great events for you this spring. So many different topics. We're starting out with the paranormal. We're going to go into medicine in Africa. We're going to be talking about 18th century philosophers. We're going to be talking about all different kinds of things. And we're going to close our season with the Festival of Excellence keynote with Kirsten Plewa coming all the way from Germany. So it's a jam-packed season full of great events. But let me tell you about today. We are delving into the unknown. So we have with us today the Southern Utah Paranormal Society, and let me tell you a little bit about their history. Founded by Kevin Olson and Joshua Stewart almost 10 years ago, Southern Utah Paranormal provides free paranormal investigations to the residents of Southern Utah. As founding members, Kevin and Josh developed the group with practical insight combined with a deep interest and passion for finding what is out there. The group has a quest for truth and a desire to debunk activity and separate real and unexplained paranormal activities from what may be imaginary. As a whole, the group is made up of mainstream community members, including retired and working police officers, school employees, state employees, retired people, hospital employees, stay-at-home moms, and university students. So anyone out there wanting to get involved, this is your chance. The unique selection of members and contributors brings a variety of experience to the field and to solving paranormal mysteries. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome members of the Southern Utah Paranormal Society. Welcome, you guys. Come on in. Todd, I think we're going to get started with you.
All right. My mic live?
Yeah, you're good.
Excellent. So thank you. My name is Todd, and we have Tina and Shannon with their daughter team with us. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint relatively quickly so we can get to the audio clips, which most people find fascinating and interesting. So I will just get right to it. We're not from Germany. We're from Cedar City, locally.
An alumnus, right? You're also an alumni.
Yes, graduated 1986.
Go T-Birds.
In fact, Gerald Charrett was the president when I was in school here.
Awesome.
So, good to see his face up there. So this is some of our team. This is the core group of the team. Kevin, who Lynn mentioned, right there, was one of the founders. He's there as well. And this is Josh. A number of years ago, Josh stepped away from the group because of his job and family. And unfortunately, Kevin passed away a couple of years ago from leukemia. We've tried to touch base with him, but no luck so far getting in touch with him. Here's Tina, Shannon. This is my wife, Susie. This is Trish. She actually owns the Sizzler, which is fascinating because Sizzler is where the old El Escalante Hotel used to be.
Right.
And if you go down in the basement of the Sizzler, you can actually see part of the original floor from the El Escalante Hotel there. So interesting stuff. I'll play a couple clips from that location as well. Room 217, does that mean anything to anybody?
Not me.
Stanley Hotel? The Shining?
Oh, The Shining!
Yeah, okay. So, and then, whoops. This is Jonathan and his wife, Charlisa. So, a diverse group. We've had people come in and out of the group over the years. It's kind of pared down now a little bit with COVID. We just haven't had a lot of opportunities this past year to do investigations. So what we're going to do is provide an overview of some of the evidence over the last 10 years. Here in Cedar City, Southern Utah, Central Utah, number of places.
Perfect.
So if you're trying to find us on the web, you can find us on Facebook. Just type in Southern Utah Paranormal, will come up. And then Tina and Shannon have been working on a new website for the group. We have an old website through Google, but it's pretty old. Still some good evidence on there, but Tina and Shannon are working on the new website. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Shannon?
It has some basic, I need
microphone.
It has some basic information on there, but not so much evidence yet. We're working on getting links and clips up there, but you can still check it out if you want to know more about us. So.
And we have some cards here as well. If anybody wants to pick up a card at the end, we've got some cards that we can give out.
Thank you. So just to go over a few definitions. So when we're talking about paranormal activity, this is something that's beyond our typical everyday experience and is beyond the scope of scientific explanation or the laws of science. So what we're doing is not necessarily in line with the scientific method or empirical observation, although hopefully the field of ghost hunting is moving in that direction, where it is something that is verifiable, it's repeatable, and you put a pot of water on heat, it boils. Yeah, empirical observation, scientific method. Ghost hunting, not so much there yet, but we are working on getting there, and that's why we use a lot of equipment when we do ghost hunts, and we'll go over some of that in just a moment here. So typically, based on at least my personal opinion on our experience, this stuff is going on around us all the time, but we're so busy with our everyday activities, we're not looking for it, we're not tuned into it, and so we don't experience it. So when we go out in the middle of the night in dark places that are quiet, we tend to be more attuned to it and pick up on it. And so that's when we gather evidence. And you've probably seen clips on either the internet or on TV sometimes of strange things being caught on video or on audio. Unfortunately, we're not backed by a cable station, so we don't have all the financing and fancy equipment, but we do have a fair amount of equipment that we can afford. I have to point out, when you watch like Ghost Hunters or Ghost Nation or Kindred Spirits on television, that's all edited. They have spooky music playing in the background. They have scary pictures flashing across the screen. That's not so much ghost hunting. Ghost hunting is really sitting for hours in the dark talking to the walls. And so it's when it's compressed into an hour's time, yeah, it's a lot more interesting, but when you're out there doing it, it's a lot of sitting and talking to yourself in the dark. EVPs are electronic voice phenomena. This is what we pick up on recorders that you can't hear with your ear, but when we play it back, you pick it up. Disembodied voice is basically the same thing, except that you actually hear it with your ear at that time. And for whatever reason, if there are spirits or ghosts, as far as we know, they don't have physical bodies like we do, so they're not talking to us, with lungs and vocal cords and all that. And so what comes across is usually breathy, whispery, kind of distant sounding. So the clips that you hear today will kind of be very much like that. It's just not going to be like me talking to you. But they are there. Which brings us to classes of EVP. So we have A, B, and C. Class A is, you can definitely hear it. You understand what they're saying. It's pretty loud. Class B is, there is something there, but you can't quite make out what it is or make out what they're saying. Class C is, you think there might be something there. It's just an odd sound, but you're not exactly sure if it's paranormal or not. So those are the classes that we put them into. Apparitions, shadows, mists. These could be dark, light, gray. These are just visual manifestations of energies, we believe. And orbs are concentrations of energy. And I have some pictures I'll show you here in just a moment. As far as hauntings are concerned, there's basically two types. There's residual hauntings, which is like a tape player playing itself over and over and over. It has no consciousness, no awareness of it. It's just energy that is stuck. And then intelligent hauntings, which are, these people are aware, they're conscious, they're communicating with us, they're talking to us, which is fascinating because that's what we get excited about. The residual stuff is interesting, but the stuff that interacts with us, that's fascinating. And then a few other terms. A lot of times people in paranormal groups have individuals who have certain sensitivities, and these are typically categorized as either being clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant. So clairaudient is they have a sensitivity to hearing, and I think my wife is clairaudient because she hears things none of us hear, and actually have a clip that demonstrates that. Clairsentient, they're picking up on emotions and feelings of people and entities. And then clairvoyant is they're picking up on events of the past. One thing when we're reviewing our data that we've collected is we do a thing called tagging. And this is on audio. So if any of us get up and walk, or our tummy rumbles, or we sneeze or sniff or move something, we mark that on the audio so that we know that it's us doing that and not something that we mistake as paranormal. And you won't believe how many things we pick up. What is that? And it's just one of us doing something. When we're doing investigations, I don't know if any of you have gone on ghost hunts or not, but typically people try or talk very quietly. They're kind of whispering. Don't do that because it comes across as being paranormal. So when you're out on an investigation, just talk in your normal voice so that we know that it's you or us as well. So some of our equipment, digital audio recorder. Do you have a recorder?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see all of these.
We don't have an actual recorder. We've just been using our phones because we need to save up to get one. But
you can pick up an audio recorder at like Walmart for $40. Probably the best tool you'll ever have in ghost hunting.
Yeah.
EMF detector.
We have one of
K2?
those right here.
Oh, no, that's a... Do you have your K2?
We don't have the K2 anymore.
Someone that disappeared.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's a K2. So that's just picking up electromagnetic frequencies. So electricians will use these to discover wiring in walls or unshield wiring, or if they're trying to determine all sorts of electrical stuff. We use it to do sweeps in buildings so we know where the ambient electromagnetic frequencies are coming from, oftentimes from like microwave ovens, older breaker boxes put off huge amounts of electromagnetic frequencies. And it's theorized that people have sensitivities to EMF waves, so they can make you nauseous, give you a headache, even make you, what's the word I'm looking for?
Anxious?
Anxious, yes, but I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, so it can affect you physically, it is believed. So we try to pick up those energies in a building when we go in there. And it's also thought that spirits or entities can actually draw from those energies. We don't know if that's true. It hasn't been tested empirically. And I don't even know how you would test that. But it's a possibility.
Hey, Todd, can I say something to that?
Yeah.
So with the K2 meter, there's like different colored lights. And if we get a reading on an EMF field, say it's at like the green, we can then ask, hey, can you answer this question and raise it up to the red or something like that, and we'll have it answer in that kind of a way. So that's one way where you can have like a steady EMF field, but then the spirit or whatever will change it up to a different color.
It's interesting. In our physical bodies, they can do EKGs and EEGs and ECGs, and so they're picking up on the electrical impulses in the body. What happens after we die? What happens to those energies? Do they carry on beyond this life? Good question. So using an EMF detector may pick up on some of those, but it's one of those questions that's just theory, but we don't know for sure. So
it's real fun, though.
What's that?
It's real fun.
It is fun. So K2, EMF, IR thermometer. So if you walk into a building and they're taking your temperatures now, that's what we're using, trying to pick up cold spots because we believe energies or entities are coalescing or pulling in energy to a specific location, possibly to manifest or present themselves in some way. So I don't know that we've ever picked up on a cold spot. It's
kind of, yeah. I think there've been a couple that were questionable.
We've had a couple interesting experiences, but nothing we can actually prove. But it is one of the tools we have. Various cameras, so digital cameras, IR or thermal cameras.
regular
So
That's a full spectrum camera right there. So with the full spectrum camera, you have to have the lights that go with it, or else you just get this pink photo. So you have to have the lights. And so it's picking up other light spectrums that a regular digital camera won't. Video recorders, which we wish we had the monies to spend on something nice. Motion sensors. This is a geophone. Can you turn that on? So it picks up vibrations. So if something is moving, it will pick up. This is a geophone here as well. Laser grid. So it's just a laser that spits out points of light. So if something is moving from it, you can catch it. Usually if you have a video camera on it, something moving through it. We have caught things moving through it before, but unfortunately, I think only one time I've caught it on video, and I didn't throw the video clip in. I should have. So geophone, laser grid, flashlights for our own safety when we're in the pitch black in places, as well as there is some people believe that spirits can manifest flashlights at a certain point. If you unscrew the top and it's just barely touching, they can maybe move it to manipulate it to turn it on. You may have seen that on some of the programs. I have a flashlight that has a button you have to push. No one's ever pushed it. Never. I'm still waiting. So a REM pod, this, when you turn it on, you want to turn that on?
This is the one you see a lot on TV.
Yes, it generates its own EMF field. So when that field, something moves into that field and breaks it, it goes off and alerts you that something is there. Now, things like walkie-talkies can also set these off. So you have to be careful about what is in the area. That's why we do an EMF sweep with the other K2 device.
So they create like a small electrical field around them.
Yes, they do.
It's just, do you know how big it is? Is it just like a 2
It's
foot?
probably a couple feet. Mm-hmm. And when something enters that field, then it'll signal that something is.
Some people have compared it a little bit to the theremin musical instrument that you put your hand near and it makes sound. It's similar, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Epod is kind of similar to a REM pod, but it picks up static electricity. Sorry, both positive and negative. So once it warms up, depending on if it's positive or negative static electricity, it changes different colors. So it's just another visual tool that we have to indicate that something might be there.
Yeah, that's a good tool to have when there are thunderstorms.
Yes. We like to go ghost hunting when there are thunderstorms because of the energy.
Well, that's one of my questions actually was, does weather or do even astrological phenomena, do those kinds of things, sounds like weather can really affect a hunt or an investigation.
Yes, based on the theory that the energy in the atmosphere can contribute to something manifesting. I mean, when you get
the energy
clothes
they
out
can
of the dryer
pull.
that's been dried too long and there's all static electricity, yep, same principle.
How about phases of the moon, or we had, when planets align, are there any of those? Do you know if any of those affect things?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever
explored any
taken
of that,
note. Yeah.
But I bet if you were to Google it, it would come up and there would be people saying stuff.
We'll have to do a full moon investigation sometime.
There you go. So, smartphone apps, the one we use most often is Ghost Radar. You can download this, it's for free, or you can pay like a couple bucks to get rid of ads and other stuff and other features. This is based on the theory that the sensors on the phone are measuring quantum flux. This is energy that appears in space. And it takes the sensors on the phone and then extrapolates it and uses an algorithm and then puts it on the app as either a visual representation or words. And it sounds a little far-fetched, and sometimes it just spits out words that mean absolutely nothing, have no context whatsoever. But other times it is spot on, unbelievably so.
Yeah,
For example, let me give you an example. We were doing an investigation of a private residence one time where a family member had passed away tragically, and some of the members of the family were there. And we're in the basement just talking, and I asked, you know, if the father was there who passed away. And a couple seconds later, this spits out his name.
Wow.
It was so uncanny. The daughters just burst out crying, and it was unbelievable. Another time, we were in another store. We were talking about desserts. Oh no, we were talking about banana splits, actually. Banana splits, and this spits out dessert. Right at the same time, we're talking about banana splits. So it's interesting. And depending on where we are, sometimes we've gotten some other words that have matched the location we're in as well.
And that's a public app. What was the name again?
Ghost Radar. There's a bunch of them out there. We've tried a few of them, but Ghost Radar seems to be the best one.
Okay.
You can get it on your iPad, iPhone, yeah, and Samsung, whatever. Lots of phones. We also use trigger objects. So these are things that people may have an association with that might prompt them to step forward or manifest or interact with us.
And those are things that you've chosen for certain reasons?
Yeah,
or?
if we're like in a place where we believe kids work, we'll bring out toys. There's other objects we use like books, music. You can use anything as a trigger object, just something that they can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, some possible examples of visual evidence that we've caught. So when we're talking about orbs, you know, these light anomalies that we've caught. What's interesting about these is they seem to be generating their own lights, their own light. They tend to be in the cooler spectrum of light, so you can see actually a little bit of a blue coming off of this one here. This is a mist that was caught in an old hospital. Again, with these photos, we typically take photos in a series. So we'll have like 10 photographs right in a row. And we'll have things like this pop up, like this mist. Was it someone's breath that just got in the camera, or was it actually something that we caught on camera? Same thing for this up here. This was a series of photographs, and for some reason in this particular photograph, that appears there. We don't know why. This happens to be in the bottom of the Sizzler, where the El Escalante Hotel was.
Right here in Cedar.
Right here in Cedar,
Yeah.
yeah. This was caught at an archaeological rock art site.
Oh.
You can see some of our equipment. There's a piece there, there. That's all our equipment on the ground. I actually had a video of something moving across and blocking out those lights. I didn't throw it in the program today, but we also caught what, I don't even know what this is. It's just strange. It's in none of the other photographs.
Only in one photo.
Only in one photograph. But again, at this particular location, we do have something moving across the screen, blocking out those lights. So it's interesting. This is where being backed by a cable company would help us with some of the fancy equipment, which we just don't have. So now a lot of people will take photographs and they'll see stuff like this. You can see these little specks here, here. This is Josh goofing off. All these, that's dust. It's just the flash reflecting off the dust. So you can look at those. They're fairly round, translucent. Compare that to these. They are not the same. So very different. So if you'll see a lot of this posted on the internet. It's not orbs. It's just dust that people are catching. So what these are, that's a good question. Don't know exactly what they are, but they are interesting. So as Lynn mentioned, we do have some cards. You can pick them up here at the front, at the end if you like. But if you want to email suphunters@gmail, that will either get to me or Tina and Shannon, and we can respond to you. And then let's do some EVPs real quick.
Yeah, that sounds great. You have a lot of audio examples from places around, and I think I heard a rumor that you've even done some research on campus at various times.
Yes, but let me qualify that. We got approval through the proper channels. We had security always let us in and lock up, and we had a staff member or faculty member with us the entire time when we were here on campus. Don't go anywhere by yourself without permission.
You will get kicked out by security. Don't
Yes,
do it.
you will get kicked out, which has happened to us before.
And so it's all sanctioned, of course, and with proper approval, of course. But you have had some interesting findings even on campus.
We do have a few clips here that I'll share.
Great.
But we have done the auditorium, the tunnels underneath, the Adams Theater, Randall Jones Theater, special collections, Old Main, Old Administration. I don't know what it's called now. It's the building next to Old Main. So some interesting things. So let's get to the audio. I will try and control the volume on some of these so it's not so loud. There are a few that are pretty loud. So this first one is actually over in what is now the Grind. It used to be pharmacy. And what's interesting about this is the nickname of the pharmacist who used to work there, his name was Dutch. That's what they used to call him. And so we picked this up on our audio one time.
Whoa.
So
I heard that.
were you able to hear that?
Yes,
So
definitely.
that's what we caught on our audio. Oftentimes we don't hear this when we're there doing the investigations. And we're usually listening with headphones when we're doing the review. Just so you know, if we go out and do, say, a 3 or 4 hour investigation, it's usually another 5 or 6 or 7 hours reviewing photographs, video, audio, cutting those clips out, sending them to everyone, having them review them, making sure it's none of us making sounds or saying something, the tagging that I mentioned earlier. So we're eliminating all that we can. And this is the stuff that we're presenting is what we can't explain. So, all right. This one is loud. I better lower the volume. This is in the Sizzler.
Well, Jacob.
Too slow.
Well, Jacob. 2 syllables. Yep. Well, Jacob. 2 syllables. Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
All right. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
All right.
And so that was the Sizzler kind of just in the restaurant or sort of down in the basement?
That sounded like it was in the kitchen because you can hear the equipment running.
Ah, right.
It could have been in the basement. The kitchen there is pretty loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple more clips from the Sizzler as well, and you can hear all the equipment in the background.
And most of them you're not able to hear, as you said, at the moment.
No.
You hear them on playback. And is that just because they're so soft, or is it because that you're boosting the audio?
It's the sensitivity of the microphone on the audio recorder. Just much more sensitive than our ears are.
Right, okay.
Yeah. This next one, Jollies, I think this is saying my last name, which is interesting. When we'll do an investigation, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Todd, this is Tina Shannon, but I've never told them what my last name is. So Prince, it's my last name. And that's what we caught. So how they knew that, I don't know. This one was caught over in the visitor center, the county visitor center. And this is the one I talked about where my wife, being clairaudient, she hears this and Tina and I are clueless. We don't hear it.
Yeah, why did they make? Well, that was probably
Hidden in a box forever.
Mm-hmm. What was that? That was probably
Hidden in a box forever.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Did you see that light?
No, someone said Josh. Holy cow. You guys didn't say that?
Josh.
So I'll do that just one more time, just so you can hear it.
Yeah, why did they make? Well, that was probably
Hidden in a box forever.
Yeah, why did they make? Well, that was probably
Hidden in a box forever.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Hidden in a box forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, kind of a whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh.
Wow.
All right. This is actually in the, I don't know, has anyone ever been in the basements beneath the businesses on Main Street? There's some pretty interesting stuff down there.
Oh, wow. I haven't been down there.
Yeah, old businesses from the 1920s, 30s, 40s. You don't see it anymore, but underneath there's like stairs and rooms and all sorts of stuff. This is actually caught in the basement below. It used to be Main Street Grill at Downtown Diner now or something. So again, we didn't hear this at the time. We didn't tag it. This came off, I think, Tina's recorder.
Yes.
No, I was just wondering how old these logs are.
The nails.
What kind of nails are they? What kind of nails are they? Are they regular nails or are they square?
So you can hear someone saying, "Hey, Bill."
Wow.
Oh, Todd, earlier I was going to add that along with like tagging whatever we do, if we're in a place where we can hear cars outside or people or something, we always make sure to mark that as well. So we didn't hear, someone up on the street yelling or anything like that, or else we would have tagged it. So that's what is even more interesting about that clip.
All right, a couple more names here.
Those two, but they've been doing.
So you can hear someone saying Shannon.
That one's a little harder to hear, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next one is Tina's name.
I'm saying there's not much here, but there's something. I'm saying there's not much here, but there's something.
And in those two experiences, or when they call it your name, do you remember feeling anything in particular that day or that particular investigation?
No, I didn't hear it until I got back and listened to the recording back, and I wasn't quite sure what to say.
And like you said, a lot of the time we're just sitting in a dark room, and like it'll feel creepy because it's dark and weird, but other than that, it's not usually too intense or you don't get too many feelings or anything. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the next two are my name. This one is Downtown Diner in the mechanical room. Jonathan and I are talking.
Was Hughes Cafe?
Yeah.
How far back was that?
It was probably 40s.
Okay.
Maybe the 30s. I'd have to go back and do a little research again. I knew pretty well when we did it the first time because I did all the research for it.
Sounds kind of like a woman's voice.
You can hear a female voice say my name.
Yeah.
And it's just Jonathan and I in there.
Wow.
So this other one right here is actually in the city offices, which used to be the old post office.
Here or there, depending on, how many, because usually a ghost hunting show has maybe 12 or 13 episodes a season. 13 episodes a season. 13 episodes. 13.
Wow. Do you feel like it's more often names, or are these ones just names, or are there a lot of other words, or is it mostly names that you hear?
No, names are few and far between.
Yeah, they're more rare.
Oh.
What I'm going to play now is usually what we catch.
Okay.
Odd stuff. So we'll catch some weird things sometime. I'm not going to play all these, but this is in a local business, and I have no idea what this is, but it is the strangest thing ever.
No, that's a ghost. He's the easy one to tell. You can always tell if it's him. You can always tell if it's him.
Yeah, what gets me sometimes.
There were no ducks around, I promise.
No.
Weird.
This is like midnight and
Inside.
yeah, it's weird. Let's see.
Do you have an office in here?
This is in the basement of Cedar Pond, which is right behind the post office. It used to be the old commissary for the Utah Parks Company. And so they bring in a lot of goods, and then that would be a central location. They'd ship them out from there. We are in the basement in an enclosed room, which used to be a freezer or a refrigerator, and we can't hear anything outside that's going on. So what these sounds are, I don't know. So you hear that. We hear it.
What was that?
It's like a howl or a cry.
You do that again? Wasn't a dog you touched or something, was it? What's on that couch?
Nothing.
You touched or something, was it? What's on that couch?
Nothing.
Wow, it sounds like a sigh or something.
Yep, a moan or something.
Huh.
This is in the old Cali drugstore on Main Street, which I don't know what it is right now. Changed hands and some type of business.
Oh, yay. Mm-hmm. Hanging out in the rain.
So after Tina says hanging out in the rain, someone comes in and says 3 or 4 words right there.
Right. Some
Play that again.
Oh, yay. Mm-hmm. Hanging out in the rain.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the same time that I heard my name by a man. So I don't know what that is versus who said my name or what that was.
Fascinating. Oh, my goodness.
Okay. This one, there's an apartment upstairs above Cali Drug that the family used to live in. I was up there sitting in a room. I had the geophone, the vibration detector on the floor, and I saw it flash. And you hear me make a comment like, can you do that again? What I didn't hear is what I caught on the audio.
Can you walk across the floor for me? Can you do that again?
So, it's a dog barking. There's no dogs in the apartment. It was just me. Sometimes we get entities telling us to go away or get out. Apparently we're disturbing them.
Huh.
So you can hear that, get out.
Uh-huh.
This is the old Garden House restaurant. We're in the main dining area. You can hear some little water feature trickling in the background. It's Susie and myself that are in there.
Do you like all the people that come in here? Here?
So there's a quiet yes right after I asked that.
Oh, that one's a little harder to hear for me, at least.
A little harder, but...
Do you like all the people that come in here?
Right there, right there.
Did you hear something?
Yeah.
So this one, sorry.
Was that you that answered?
This next one is in the County Visitor Center again. You can hear our ghost radar in the background, and then this breathy voice comes in and says, go home, and then there's a sigh after it.
Was Mary your mom's name?
Hi,
Is there anything?
So go home,
Wow.
and then a sigh.
I just want to point out too that like when we're there, we try to be respectful and ask if they want us to leave. And if we ever heard anything in the moment or if they gave us some kind of sign, we would leave. But these are all things we catch afterward. So
This one, I think it's at least you two and Susie in the basement. This is in the basement of the grind.
If you want us to leave, you need to make a really loud sound. What was that?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Hello. That gave me goosebumps. It was like sitting right next to me.
Yeah. And it was a...
Holy cow.
Yeah. Okay.
So right after she says, if you want us to leave, you need to make a real loud sound, you hear a voice come in.
If you want us to leave, you need to make a really loud sound. What was that? Really loud sound. What was that?
So it's like someone talking in the background. This is also in the grind. This is not an EVP. This is us upstairs asking them to play the piano.
Is there anybody here who can play the piano? If you can, sure love to hear it.
So that's Jonathan asking them to play the piano that's sitting in there. And then they're downstairs, and I synced the audio from my recorder and Susie's recorder. And this is like 10 seconds later that they caught this.
Do you hear music? Yeah.
Yeah, hear that?
Do you hear music? Yeah. Did you guys hear the music? Did you hear that? Yeah.
Anyone that's been to the grind also knows that they lock that piano at night with a padlock. So there was no way anyone could have even accessed it.
No, we didn't play it. We didn't even touch it. What time are we up to?
Well, we have a few more minutes for questions. If you want to move to that, we definitely can get going with that.
Let me play just a few more clips.
Okay.
These are some of our better ones.
And we are doing the rare audience Q&A. And those of you who are friends of A.P.E.X know it's pretty rare to have an audience Q&A. But if you do have some questions, we thought this topic might be particularly nice for you to have an opportunity to ask. So if you have some questions, get them ready.
This is Charlize and I. We're in a stairwell of all places. We're talking about the equipment we're using.
Red on the UFO man? Or the Epod, excuse me?
That's me.
I'm not sure. It might be acclimating.
So I'm sitting there talking with Charlize, and then someone comes in and says, I will look at it.
Yeah, some strong whisper.
I'm not sure. It might be acclimating.
Wow.
This is in the same place, the same voice.
Is that camera and the flash making it go off?
And you got to be close to it to break that EMF field.
It's cool. What is the red on the UFO?
That one's really clear. It's cold.
And I'll end with this one. This is Tina and Shannon in the Hunter House over at Frontier Homestead State Park. On it.
Do you want me to preface
Sure.
it?
Preface
Okay, so we were going to investigate this house, and there are 4 main rooms, 2 upstairs and 2 downstairs. And so we were trying to plan out, I think we only had an hour. And so we were like, do we do 15 minutes in each room? Like, how do we coordinate this? And like in the middle of us talking, you can hear this voice.
I'll tell you what it says after we listen to it.
Since there's 4 rooms, we can break it up and do. I'll get you out though. Why don't you do like 15 minutes in this room and 15 minutes in another room, or half an hour down here?
So
it's a lot of words.
It's like 6 words. What they're saying when we listened back and slowed it down, they're saying no, half hour, get out soon.
Wow.
So I'll play that again. So they're listening to our conversation.
And we did not get out soon.
Since there's 4 rooms, we can break it up and do. I'll get you out though. Why don't you do like 15 minutes in this room and 15 minutes in another room, or half an hour down here?
Wow.
Yeah, if we would have heard that at the time, we would have gotten out.
That's kind of the amazing thing. I mean, if they're saying that and you didn't hear it, I mean, what else is being said, you know?
Later on in that investigation, we had wood that flew across one of the empty rooms, and we had all kinds of stuff.
Footsteps on the stairs.
Footsteps down the stairs. Yeah. So I think because we weren't abiding by his half-hour rule, he didn't tell us to go away. He said we could have half hour. We didn't know that, so we were just chilling in there, and they made it very clear after the fact that we should have gone.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. And what's your sense of, why certain spirits can articulate words and others can just articulate sound? Is it have any time with the date of time when they've passed or their connection to the location? Do you have any opinions on that?
I mean, I would just think it's like the strength of their energy, if that's what you want to call it. And sometimes I do think that like being connected to a location, like that's where their life was or their memories or, so maybe that fuels them somehow.
Yeah, like the pharmacist that was still at the drugstore. He was still making sure things were going okay.
Well, those audio are so amazing. Are those the ones that you wanted to share? Did I get to the last one?
Yeah, that was the main one.
Okay.
Unless you want to hear one from Special Collections.
Well,
that place is a neat place.
Special Collections here on campus?
Yeah,
yes, there's a lot.
The library.
Yes. Yeah, let's hear it. So it's a pretty active area?
It was cool.
It is.
Wow.
I didn't bring a lot of clips.
I didn't expect a whole lot when I went in there, but it was pretty active.
A pretty active night. Wow. Who knew?
Now share it again.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
So, hello.
Yeah. Well, and I was curious what you said about people being clairvoyant, clairsonic, all those different clair words. If anybody was wondering about developing that in themselves, are there ways to become more sensitive, or is it just a trait that you're born with? What do you all think about that?
I think it's a natural inborn trait. I'm like deaf, dumb, and blind when it comes to ghost stuff. The only thing I'm good at is picking it up on audio when I'm listening back to it, but as far as sensitivity to that stuff, no, not me.
I would think that maybe if you, took time to really understand whatever is happening to you and like try to focus on it more or like practice, I guess, it would maybe become stronger.
Yeah, and I've noticed the older I get, the more I sense feelings and things like that I didn't before. And I didn't particularly try to do that. It's just kind of happened the older I get. I don't know if it's from having kids and more experience in life.
Yeah.
More
it's
stress.
interesting. There's a program called Psychic Kids. I don't know if anyone's ever watched that. They actually came up and did a segment at the Frontier Homestead State Park. But some of those kids have these abilities and they don't know how to deal with them. So it's something that seems to be natural to them. So some people learn to control it, others it's overwhelming for them.
I see. Well, I'd love to know if we have any questions, and then Tony or Grace, you can go ahead and put our Q&A slide up so we have our little background there. But if anybody has any questions and would like to kind of come up to the mic, please feel free. We have this mic set up in the center aisle. But of course, as you know, I have tons of questions, so I can also keep talking to them for hours and hours. But if there's anything you'd like to know, just come on up and we'd be happy to entertain your questions. But while people are thinking about their questions, I was curious to what other locations, you mentioned Special Collections on campus. Were there other locations on campus that you feel have a particularly strong energy or activity?
There are stories about the tunnels underneath the auditorium. We caught very little there when we were there. The Adams Theater, there were a few things we caught, probably kids, children's voices that at least we think they were children's voices. Definitely, Special Collections was a hot spot. And then the dressing rooms below the Randall Jones Theater seemed to be active as well. We caught some good stuff there.
And I'm sure that maybe there are some aspiring investigators out there. For people who might want to get involved or might want to join the team or learn more or get trained, can you talk about getting involved in this, either with your organization or suggestions that you have for people who want to get involved in this kind of activity?
If you're involved with our group or get involved with our group, we have a whole series of training or guidelines that we all abide by and use in our group. So I retired last January from my job here in Cedar, and I moved to St. George because I was tired of snow. So the leaders up here in Cedar City area are now Tina and Shannon. So I'm heading up the Washington County chapter. So if anyone's interested up here in this area, these are the two to go to.
Yeah, if you just want to email us, that's usually the best way. And like I think Todd said that we've been kind of slow with locations because of COVID and everything. So we don't have anything necessarily planned out, but we try to do, more like public ghost hunts where people can come and have that experience and things like that. But we're just trying to figure out what this next year is going to look like.
And it might be a great opportunity to take the time to get trained and learn about it and all of that. And are you always looking for volunteers, or is it is it come one, come all, or you want people who are really serious, or what type? I mean, does it matter, or any interest level?
I mean, we love anyone that's interested, obviously. Like that's how we started out. But we have had a lot of group members that just show up for like one thing and don't really contribute and then leave. So definitely people that can become like core team members is something that we're looking for.
Because the dedication to the reply and review of all the recordings and the videos and all that evidence. That's all the evidence we have. So without that, we can't prove anything we've done or seen or heard.
I think a lot of people, they watch the programs on television and they think, oh, that's exciting and thrilling, and they're there for the adrenaline rush. And when they come along with us and we're sitting there in the dark for 3 hours just talking to walls, they kind of, it doesn't interest them anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we're looking for people who are willing to put in the time and sit there and go through the evidence and really be serious about it.
Sounds like a lot of downtime. Yeah. Looks like we have a question. Welcome.
Excellent.
I didn't want you to feel like I was ignoring you.
No, please. We love it.
So I hope this works with a mask.
So I noticed in a lot of these paranormal investigations, ghost hunting, whatever it is you're doing, it's very heavy emphasis on physical detection mechanisms, such as electromagnetic stuff, acoustics, that kind of thing. But there's a good argument to be made that the root phenomenon that you guys are looking at, assuming it's real, is probably not physical in nature. Mm-hmm. And so the question is, my question is, what do you speculate the actual nature of it, the ontology of it is, and why is it that you expect there to be some kind of particularly electromagnetic interaction with that?
That's an excellent question, and this is where I wish ghost hunting and paranormal investigation was more in the realm of the scientific method in empirical observation, where we can have an expectation, we can test for it, and we have a result, and we can verify that. That's not very often the case, and so we're going off of theories that people have come up with that these spirits or entities have energies that they can manipulate the environment around them and cause these things to happen, whether it's a knock or whether it's a voice that is speaking to us. But it's very difficult to other than what we shared with you, to actually have a scientific method other than the equipment we're using to record it, that something is going on. So we're trying to use equipment that has been scientifically proven to detect something in our physical environment. We're kind of translating that to this other realm of whatever it is. We don't know if it's physical or if it's finer matter than us. I haven't died and gone to the other side yet, so I don't know what it's like over there. But talking with people who have had those near-death experiences, it's fascinating. And they say there's something to it, but it's like we're trying to see something with a veil over our eyes. It's
like we're measuring in the best way we know how.
Yes. So I don't know if that's an answer to your question or not. Yeah, I mean,
in other words, you don't know, but you're doing the best you can.
We don't know for sure, but we're trying to capture something that we think is there. A lot of if you go online and look up scientific method and ghost hunting and stuff, people will say most of what I showed you or shared with you can be explained by just natural phenomena in our world, and it's really not spirits or ghosts or anything. But hearing some of that, just like how, it's hard to disprove.
Mm-hmm. And we do try to debunk and disprove anything we can while we're on site and while we're listening to the audio, so we do our best.
Yeah. If someone can figure out how to apply the scientific method to ghost hunting, they're going to be very famous and very rich someday.
All right, get busy, everyone. Looks like we have another question. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
So I have two questions. So the first one is, what kind of spirit box, or do you use a spirit box to communicate with the ghost?
Yes, Charlisa and Jonathan have a spirit box they bring along. We don't have it in this equipment.
I think they have it at their home.
So for those of us who don't know, what's a spirit box?
It's a radio that's been wired to rotate through all the frequencies, and supposedly spirits or entities can
talk through the white noise and the static. So you'll hear like random words come through and stuff.
Are those words, I was curious because now I know what that is because I've seen it. Do they always come through in English? Because and do you hear other languages? Because I would imagine that,
Yeah, and sometimes you have no idea what it's saying. It's just like noises but when you get those strong words and it correlates with whatever you're talking about, like, it's like the ghost radar. You're like, well, take it with a grain of salt, but his name is John and that just said John, so that's pretty cool,
And so you guys do use a spirit box?
Once in a while,
yes.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's something I personally, I don't like. I don't know if it's the static, the frequency, I don't know what it is. That really...
the sound or the feeling?
The frequencies, I guess. The feeling. I just don't...
Oh, interesting.
I don't like it. So when they do the spirit box, I go somewhere else.
Interesting. Okay.
It's quite noisy.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like overwhelming or overloaded.
I see. And then you had another question.
Yes. So basically, I've experienced this myself. I don't know if you know, but just before the Intermountain Hospital was built, there's actually 2 hospitals built here before that, and I visited the hospital by Smith's, and there's been a lot of paranormal activities and stuff.
We have heard that.
So for me, I always carry an amethyst to protect me as a protection spell from any entities and stuff. What would you recommend if you wanted anything to protect you and not follow you home?
Oh, great question.
Various members of our group use different types of protection. Some use prayer, some carry amulets, crystals. I typically do an energy routine to protect my own energy. So there's various things you can do. You can also go online and Google it and come up with all sorts of stuff that people do. Some people will hold prayers before they go investigating.
Setting boundaries with whoever might be there is another good one.
I try to set boundaries. Some people don't mind being touched. Other people don't want to be touched.
That's a good point. If you're going ghost hunting, my advice would be never invite anyone to touch you. Right. You're just inviting bad juju.
Yeah. Right, I see.
But there are prayers some who do and are comfortable with it.
Yeah, any prayers, crystals, whatever means something to you and that you feel protected by, I think that puts a lot of power into it. So, it goes from person to person.
It sounds like it's more of your personal concept of protection and what particularly resonates with you as a protection entity.
Yeah, we don't get together and do a cheer, hold hands or anything like that, but we all kind of prepare and get mentally ready for where we're at. What could we experience? What's going to happen? What could happen?
Set our boundaries.
And just,
so you're not allowed to follow me home.
Yeah, don't follow me home. Don't touch me or touch me, whatever that person wants to do.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Well, we're pretty much out of time. And I think just as a last little, first of all, thank you so much for sharing all of your research and your findings and telling us about the group and all of the devices. I was curious if there was anywhere in the world that you would want to go to do an investigation, kind of as a parting question. Is there any city or location or place that's a dream of yours to go and specifically for ghost hunting or spirit hunting?
Stanley Hotel.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I think going over to like Europe in general, where all the old castles and all of that history is, would be really cool, because that goes way back further than anything we have here.
Yeah.
So that would be really
Southern Utah Paranormal Tour.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Todd, how about you? Any spot?
I'm an archaeologist by training, so anything prehistoric fascinates me. So that's why we do some archaeological sites in our investigations.
Great. Well, thank you for this. This has been eye-opening and ear-opening. And again, we have cards available. If there's anything you'd like to ask them, we're going to hang out at the front for a bit. And just wanted to say thank you all so much for spending the time. We will also be on the radio at 3 p.m. today, KSUU Thunder 91.1. But we will sign off until next week. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, everybody online. And thank you, Southern Utah Paranormal Society.